Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So recently I've noticed that a lot of people have been coming forward and sharing their story about narcissistic abuse. And when I say a lot of people, I don't just mean like on social media. I mean people who are like celebrities that are coming forward and talking about their situation as well. So narcissistic abuse is something that is becoming much more well known, and a lot of people are starting to really see how many of us have been impacted by it, and also starting to see how detrimental it really is. And it's just so crazy to think about, like, when people who are famous and well known, like, I know that they're normal quote unquote people as well, but it's just so jarring, like, when you get to see that narcissistic abuse affects everybody across all walks of life, like, no matter what your social status is, no matter what your socioeconomic class is. It's like narcissistic abuse is everywhere, and it's kind of like an epidemic at this point. So that's what inspired me to do this reading. I just know that a lot of people are searching out words of comfort and clarity when it comes to, a narcissist that they've dated, because it truly is one of the most painful experiences that you can go through, to go through a narcissistic abuse cycle. So yeah, I wanted to do this reading about, your narcissistic ex, and we're going to be looking at words of comfort for you, for those of you who are still in pain about it and having a hard time recovering. We're going to do their karma, like what they can expect to happen to them from what they did to you, because make no mistake about it, these people get their karma. Like, the energy that you put out, it's always going to come back around to you. So don't think that just because they seem to be living a good life, that the karma just skipped them, because that's not the case. So we're going to look at that. And then we're just going to look at some guidance for you moving forward, some do's and don'ts when it comes to your recovery and moving forward. And from here forward on my tarot channel, I'm going to be dedicating my readings to victims of narcissistic abuse. I'm not saying that every reading is going to be about your ex-narcissist. It's more so going to be me doing readings about self-love, about, building just a happy life for yourself, about finding a healthy, loving relationship. We're going to do some shadow work readings, because those are the things that people who experience narcissistic abuse suffer the most with, or they struggle the most with. I mean, they struggle with finding self-love again, finding happiness again, finding a healthy connection again. So we're going to be doing a lot of that, a lot of shadow work and self-love readings on this channel moving forward. So, definitely stay tuned for that. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this reading. So the first two cards out, we have the Hierophant card and we have the Ace of Wands. So these two cards are your words of comfort. So I feel like the Hierophant card is saying that during this time, you could really seek out comfort from spirituality, which, I mean, you're here on this channel, so, you're definitely going in the right direction. I just feel like this card is talking about the fact that narcissistic abuse, it's not just emotional abuse, it's not just physical abuse, it's also spiritual abuse. Like, narcissistic abuse has been described as like hitting your soul, like causing a soul wound. And that's mostly because, and I've talked about this in the past, that narcissistic abuse, or narcissists tend to attack our mother wound. Like, if you have a maternal wound where you weren't loved enough by your mother, or maybe you have a mother who's a narcissist, you have a maternal wound, and narcissists, when you date them, they hit that wound. And to me, a maternal wound is not just an emotional wound. It's a soul wound. Like, when your mother is not a good mother and she rejects you or abandons you or mistreats you, that cuts through to your soul. So if a narcissist is triggering that maternal wound, then, and a narcissist is attacking that maternal wound, then they are attacking you on a soul level. They're attacking you on a spiritual level, So a lot of the times, healing from narcissistic abuse does involve walking some sort of spiritual path. Now, you have to be careful of this, because this is also why a lot of victims of narcissistic abuse are so susceptible to joining cults and things like that, because they'll have the intuitive knowing that they have to seek out some sort of spiritual guidance, but they'll end up seeking it out from the wrong type of person. And then, like I said, you could easily join a cult with that. So be careful of that. But I do think that walking a spiritual path could be very beneficial for you when it comes to your healing, and it could bring you a lot of comfort. So the Ace of Wands is also here. So the Ace of Wands, to me, is saying that you are going to fully recover from this, and that you have to walk by faith and not by sight. Because for right now, you could be feeling like this is something that you're never going to overcome. And that's the definition of walking by sight, is by kind of looking around at your circumstances and just accepting that that's how it's always going to be. But when you walk by faith, you're saying, okay, even though my circumstances look very, very grim right now, I have faith that things are going to turn around. And I know that's easier said than done, especially if you've, experienced narcissistic abuse. It's very hard to say, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to overcome this. Because it makes you feel so hopeless. Like a large part of the abuse is that it just makes you feel low and worthless. And with that comes a feeling of hopelessness. But with the Ace of Wands being here, this card is here to give you hope and to say that you are going to overcome this situation. And not only are you going to overcome it, but you are going to be able to live a very happy and fulfilled life. The Ace of Wands is basically spirit giving you the green light that you are going to move forward and your life is going to turn around and it's going to be fulfilling. And this might, you might not believe this, but the life that you were living before the narcissist, your recovery is going to lead to an even better life than you had before. Because I'm hearing that some of you are missing who you used to be, like missing your old self, thinking like, man, I used to be able to trust people. I used to be able to connect with people, and now my confidence is low, and now I can't trust anyone, and things of that sort. You are going to get all of that back times 10 is what I'm hearing with this Ace of Wands card. And again, this is one of those things where you have to just trust what I'm saying, and you have to walk by faith and not by sight, because you're hearing this and you're probably like, that's not possible. I'm telling you, it's very, very possible. Okay. And that's why I say that narcissistic abuse, you have to approach it from a spiritual perspective, because to me, that level of faith requires like a spiritual faith, like that level of being able to say, not only am I going to recover from this, but I'm going to be better than I was before. There's a spiritual aspect of that level of surrender and faith is what I'm seeing here. I want to pull one more card. Let's see. Okay, we have the Nine of Pentacles that I just pulled, and we have the Six of Cups. So I'm seeing here that you're going to be healing a lot of your childhood wounds. I feel like your childhood wounds are exactly what made you susceptible to this narcissist in the first place. And I'm not saying, oh, because of your childhood wound, you attracted this into your life. No, I hate when I hear stuff like that on spiritual channels, like, oh, you attracted this narcissist, like, as if it's like your fault somehow, or like your energy that you let off attracted the narcissist. I don't know. I don't like that. It sounds very victim blamey. So I don't subscribe to that. But what I'm saying is that for those of us who have those deep childhood wounds, especially if you have like a narcissistic mother, when we meet the narcissist, it's very easy for us to overlook any type of red flags. You see what I'm saying? And it's very easy for us to not set any strong boundaries with them. It's very easy for us to fall victim to the love bombing stage. You see what I'm saying? Because of the childhood wounds. So I feel like what this is saying is that you're going to be stepping into a cycle where you are going to be healing your childhood wounds. And that's why I said your life is going to be even better than it was before you met the narcissist, because now it's like you are not only healing from the abuse that they took you through, but you're also healing from your childhood wounds as well, that you may not even have been aware were even there before you got involved with this narcissist. You see what I'm saying? But if you have childhood wounds, it has been affecting you since childhood. You probably just didn't know it. It could have been blocking a lot of good things from your life, not just love, but also like career opportunities. Childhood wounds could even cause you health problems. So all of those things could have been going on before you even met the narcissist due to these childhood wounds. And then you meet this narcissist, and then, you go through the narcissistic abuse cycle, and now you're out of that cycle. You're about to step into a period of healing and restoration, and your childhood wounds are about to be healed as well. So you are about to be an even better version of yourself. Not saying that the past version of you, there's anything wrong with it, right? But you're about to be living a more fulfilled, healthy, and happy life for yourself is what I'm seeing. I'm also seeing that you're also stepping to a time period where through this healing, you're no longer going to be seeking out any type of external validation. A lot of the self-love that you have is going to come from within yourself, and you're not going to be seeking it outward, and again, you're going to be living a very blessed and peaceful life because of this healing that you're about to step into. And that's why I said on this tarot channel, I'm going to be dedicating it to, self-love readings, shadow work readings, and things of that sort. As we continue on our healing journey, I just want us to be able to really dive deep into our subconscious mind through these tarot readings so that we can heal on a deep level and, again, just create a happy and healthy life for ourselves. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing for you. And also, I'm seeing here that, again, narcissism is a societal issue because the Hierophant card, I'm seeing it come out here. And I just want to make it clear that this is a societal issue. And I think that's coming through because some of you could be feeling like, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did I, of all people, have to meet this type of person? Some of you could even be thinking like, is it some type of energy that I have that's attracting them? Is there something wrong with me that I'm attracting them? Some of you could be beating yourself up about, the fact that you let them into your life and you feel like you should have seen the red flags and all of that. But I think the Hierophant card is saying that, you have to stop being so hard on yourself because narcissism, it really is an issue in society. There's a lot of narcissists in society. Like, if you look at the statistics, I think it says something really low, like only 5% or maybe even less, only 2% of society are narcissists. That's BS, okay? Like, 2% maybe have been diagnosed, but narcissism is an epidemic. Even if people don't have full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic behavior is an epidemic in our society. Like on Twitter, I remember there was this whole thread of men admitting that they reach a stage where they hate their girlfriends and they start emotionally abusing their girlfriends, hoping that the girlfriends would leave. And it had I want to say like 100,000, no, maybe not, maybe like 50,000 likes. It had a lot of likes, okay? There were just men just straight out talking about it blatantly in the comments. And I'm reading it and I'm like, do these people not even realize that this is narcissism? Like, what they are describing is a devaluation period, and they are trying to get the girlfriend to leave. That's called a reverse discard in terms of narcissistic abuse. And they were talking about it openly because it's so normalized in society. They don't even realize that this is narcissistic behavior, or even if they do realize it, they don't care because it's normalized. You see what I'm saying? So don't think there's something wrong with you because you came across this person or you just attracted this person. No, this is an epidemic in society and it's affecting a lot of people. So it's not just you. And these people, narcissists, they are master manipulators. They've been doing this for a long time. Picture something that you have been doing every single day since you were younger. You would be a master at it. That's like, I've used this example before, Venus and Serena Williams. They've been playing tennis since they were young, right? If you went up against them in a tennis match and you lost, would you feel foolish about it? Like, oh, I can't believe I didn't beat them. Like, no, you would be like, yeah, these are professionals. They've been doing this since they were younger. It's the same thing with narcissistic people. It's the same thing with toxic, abusive people. They have been strengthening these manipulation skills since they were younger. So no matter how smart you are, no matter how self-aware you are, these people have the ability to just manipulate the hell out of you. Like, and it's not something to be ashamed of because, again, this is something that they've mastered. So don't beat yourself up over the fact that, oh, I should have saw the red flags. Oh, they manipulated me so well. You didn't do anything wrong. Like, yes, moving forward, you should strengthen your boundaries and things like that. But these people are hard to avoid. And that's why people are like, oh, you should just choose better. You should choose better. And it's like, okay, these people can keep a mask on for years. Like there's been people who dated a narcissist that were like, yeah, everything was fine for 2 years, and then I got pregnant, and then their true colors came out. You see what I'm saying? Like these are master manipulators. So don't beat yourself up. There's plenty of people, the smartest people, the most intelligent people, the most self-aware people can still be susceptible to manipulation and narcissistic abuse. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Let's look at their karma now. So we have the, what is this? The Six of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, and then the Nine of Swords in the reverse as well. So with the Six of Swords in the reverse, okay, I'm going to try to remain neutral in this, okay? Because I'm trying to read the karma card and not smile, because I'm sorry, narcissistic people, they just really, the damage that they do really, really bothers me on a very deep level. And so, yeah, when I see this card come out for their karma, you know, there's a little smirk on my face, but I'm going to try to keep it as neutral and biased and unbiased as possible. So we have the Five of Swords in the reverse. So this card talks about not having peace of mind at all, to be tormented by your thoughts, and to not be able to, like, there being nothing external that can save you is pretty much what this card is about. And that makes sense that that would be their karma, because that's what they did to you, right? Like, isn't that what they do to their victims? Make it so that it's hard for you to even think properly. Like you're always in a state of confusion, or your thoughts are so negative after, you know, being abused by this person. It makes sense that this would come right back around to them and they experience the same thing. So we have the, like I said, the Six of Swords in the reverse. This is someone who is tormented by their thoughts, who is unable to move away from those tormented thoughts, and who's constantly seeking out external things to try to escape their external thoughts, but they can't. I feel like this is how they always are. Like they always are tormented by their thoughts, but I'm reading this as like in the near future, it's going to get even worse. Like they're going to experience something where they are not able to get any type of external comfort whatsoever. And for those of you who are familiar with the term narcissistic injury, that's what I'm seeing, where basically a narcissist is not able to get any type of supply. They're not able to get their ego fed. Like everyone around them might turn on them, or they're just not able to fool anyone. Like they could get exposed. It's so many things that, you know, can cause a narcissistic injury. And that's what I'm seeing for them, something happening to them in the near future where they experience a narcissistic injury and they're not going to be able to cope. Like their thoughts are going to be so dark, pretty much. The Nine of Swords is also here. And I feel like they're trying to fight this very hard. With the Nine of Swords being here, they're trying to fight this very hard. I'm seeing like they are trying to keep themselves as distracted as they can. Because I'm seeing someone staying up late at night and trying to distract themselves, because they know when they lay down to go to sleep, that's when the thoughts fully hit them. So some of them could be like, I'm hearing some of them like drinking themselves to sleep, like staying up late at night, drinking until they pass out, smoking until they pass out. It's like not wanting to be alone with your thoughts right before bed. So their mind is very tormented by whatever. Well, their mind's already tormented, but whatever's about to happen to them, it's going to be tormented more. And be careful, guys. Like, I don't want any of you to go and start looking at their social media because you want to see them get their karma, because a lot of the times they won't ever post about it at all. It could be going on behind the scenes, and then you'll just end up getting caught up watching them, hoping to see it, and it'll, you know, keep you stuck. So, you know, and then also if they start posting, they could be going through hell and then just not posting about it, or posting the opposite of it and acting like they're happy, and then that'll just mess you up more. You know what I'm saying? So be careful of that. Don't go looking for the karma. Just trust me when I say that it's happening. I've been reading for years, since 2018. I would like to say I'm a very accurate reader, and I'm telling you that's what I'm seeing in these cards. So let me pull one more. Four of Wands. Yeah, I mean, Four of Pentacles. Yeah, some of them it's going to be fine. Something about finances that's going to be hit. So it could be their, for some of them, it's a job. Definitely, they could be getting fired from a job, or their finances are just thrown off completely. being forced to release certain things that they did not want to release, like trying to hold on. Like this could be someone who's trying to hold on to a certain job or career path, and now it's impossible for them to move forward with it. This could be like a friend group that they have. They're trying to hold on to that friend group, and the friends see right through them and cut them off. It's something along those lines. It's something that's going to destabilize them completely. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them end up losing like their home or something, especially if they impacted you to the point where you lost your home, or to the point where, you know, your money was impacted, because that's very common when you experience narcissistic abuse. Like they will drain you of everything, your money, everything. Like I've seen YouTubers, a specific YouTuber that got involved with the narcissist, and she became literally homeless, and she became unstable mentally and emotionally. It was very, very, very sad, the damage that these types of people do. So I'm just seeing that coming right back around to them. This is like this is Capricorn card, Saturn. This is karma, karmic justice, divine justice. That's definitely coming through. I'm hearing that some of them may even have to move like out of their town or out of their city, something. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like having to move away from family or something because they get exposed, or having to move away from friends because they get exposed. Yeah, it's not looking good for them. It's not looking good for them at all. And I'm seeing here that they have very few options. Like they feel cornered. Usually they're able to see what their options are and to manipulate a situation, or they're like, okay, if I can't have this, then I'll just go ahead and go over here with that. If this friend group cuts me off, I'll just go join this friend group. It's like, no, they don't have any options at all. They have to kind of live with whatever's going on in the moment. They don't have any options to go elsewhere, is what I'm seeing. Yup. And there's no and you know what's crazy? I'm hearing that their karma is that there's clarity. There's no confusion. And you know, that sounds weird because to us, we think that that's something that we want, right? Like we want clarity. That's what will make us feel good. Narcissists don't want clarity. They want confusion. They want to live in illusion, right? So clarity to them is actually quite painful when they have to sit and look around at their life, and they have to look at exactly what their life is, and there's no confusion, there's no drama that they're causing to escape from their life. That's painful to them. Reality is painful. Clarity is painful. That's why they try to keep everyone in a state of confusion, and they're always causing drama. So their karma is clarity that's coming through. Truths that they cannot deny, especially about themselves, you know? So let me see what else. Oh, I want to just share quickly, something's coming to me intuitively, or something coming to me about my past with a narcissist that kind of illustrates the point that I just gave about the confusion and the clarity. I once dated a narcissist who was always gaslighting, deflecting, causing confusion, and shifting reality, right? And so one day they did something. I forget what they even did, but they did something that I was just fed up. I was just like, yeah, goodbye. I'm done with you. And I cut them off without reacting. So I didn't react, and there was no drama, chaos, confusion. And also I didn't give them an opportunity to gaslight or to deflect. So by not giving them the opportunity and just blocking them, there was no chaos, confusion. They weren't able to gaslight. They had to sit with reality. They had to sit with the reality of the situation. They couldn't get in touch with me to turn it around, right? And I kid you not, this narcissist started to spiral so bad. Like they literally had a psychotic episode and they ended up in the mental hospital. I kid you, I'm not exaggerating in the least bit. This person spiraled so bad because they had to sit with reality. They have other underlying mental health issues as well, besides the fact that they're a narcissist. But I'm telling you, they spiraled bad. And I was just like, holy shit, like, is this why narcissistic people have to deflect? Why they have to turn the things around? Why they have to create illusions? Because reality would split their psyche. Like this man, I can't even describe how badly this person spiraled. I'm telling you. So And any other time, whenever they would do something wrong and I would try to hold them accountable, any other time, if they would deflect or gaslight or whatever, they would be fine. They would be like, whatever, deflected it, gaslighted it, they move on with their day. But because they were unable to do that, yeah, that's what I mean when I say clarity is harmful to a narcissist. So next, we have the King of Wands and we have the Ten of Pentacles. So the King of Wands is your cards for moving forward. Okay, so this is your do's. We're going to look at your do's and your don'ts when it comes to healing and moving forward. So these are your do's. So the King of Wands in reverse is talking about not trying to move on by taking on the role of a narcissist. And let me explain to you what I mean. When we are with a narcissist or we're surrounded by them and then we end our connection with them, they still are impacting us psychologically sometimes, okay? You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever seen Harry Potter? I'm sure a lot of you have. How Voldemort tried to kill Harry as a baby, and because of that, a piece of him was inside of Harry, and then Harry could see his Voldemort's thoughts, and he had some of Voldemort's powers, like he could speak parcel tongue, the snake language like Voldemort did. That is very, very similar to narcissistic abuse. We take on some of their traits and we can see things through their eyes because they have imprinted on us so heavily. They've imprinted on our subconscious. So sometimes we'll take on the role of a narcissist to try to heal. And what I'm seeing is that's counterproductive. And let me give you an example. If you start to say, you know what, I don't even care about that narcissist. I'm just going to be successful, glow up, and move forward, all right? There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but that's how narcissists operate. They only care to improve externally in order to suppress what's going on internally. So if you do that, then technically you're taking on their role. I'm not saying you're taking on the role of an abuser, or I'm not saying that makes you a narcissist. I'm saying that that's a part of them that could hinder you from your actual healing. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm not explaining this well. Okay. There are things called narcissistic fleas that when we're in a relationship with a narcissist that we take on, like I said, we take on some of their traits. And if we try to use those traits to heal moving forward, it's going to stop us from moving forward. So for example, like I said, just saying, well, I'm just going to glow up and I'm just going to, just improve my external, I'm going to improve the way that I look, or I'm going to improve my career situation. That there's nothing wrong with that. But when you only utilize that and you're not doing the work within, that's an example of having narcissistic fleas, having narcissistic traits left over from the narcissist and trying to heal in that way. Okay. What a narcissist does not have is humility. A narcissist doesn't have the ability to humble themselves, be vulnerable, to look in the mirror and say, hey, this actually hurt me bad. You know what I'm saying? So that will be the thing that will help you to fully heal and recover. Yes, you can still glow up, you can still change your external environment. You can still change, level up when it comes to your career. If you want to get in the gym, if you want to do all of that, there's nothing wrong with that. I encourage you to do that actually. But like I said, you don't want to do it from a narcissistic standpoint where that's all you're doing, to where you're thinking, I glowed up now, I don't need that person and I'm better now. No, that's not what you want to do. If you want to glow up externally, do that. But you want to also practice a sense of humility where you're able to really connect with that vulnerable part of yourself and to say, you know what, this actually hurt me. This actually did hurt me. This hit my inner child. This affected my inner child wounds. And that's a vulnerability that a narcissist does not have. That's a humility that a narcissist does not have. So that will be your weapon pretty much when it comes to healing. It's the opposite of what they're not able to access that inner part of themselves. You are. So don't take on healing from their standpoint where you bypass that inner part of yourself. No, you can change your external, but connect with that internal part of yourself as well. Does that make sense? I really hope I explained that right. I was channeling the messages and I'm like, wait, I hope this is not confusing. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying like, oh, you've turned into a narcissist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's something called narcissistic fleas. You can look it up, where victim of narcissistic abuse, we take on some narcissistic traits, just so we can survive. It's a survival thing, right? And then when we're out of the relationship, those narcissistic fleas, we use them as a coping mechanism, not realizing that it's hindering us from fully healing. And I have a whole post about narcissistic fleas that I'm going to put in the description box, because I really want to explain this the right way. And since I'm channeling, I can't really think, it's hard for me to think about good examples of narcissistic fleas. So I'm going to leave a post that I wrote about narcissistic fleas. I'm going to leave it in the description box, and you can go ahead and click on it and read it. And if this part of the reading confused you, it'll make more sense if you go and read that post. Okay, moving on. So we have the 10 of Pentacles as well. So with the 10 of Pentacles being here, I feel like this is talking about you thinking about your long-term happiness. That's going to be something that really helps you to move forward. Think about what your ideal life is like. Think about what would genuinely make you happy in your heart of hearts. And that's another reason why I say that you have to get in touch with that vulnerable part of yourself, because you're not going to know what really makes you happy unless you really get in touch with that vulnerable part of yourself. When we're not in touch with that part of ourselves, we can tend to think that certain things will make us happy, but they really don't. Like if we look around at society tells us, oh, if you get a big house, if you get name brand clothes, if you make a certain amount of money, then that'll make you happy, right? And we have to get in touch with ourselves on a very deep, vulnerable level and say, society says that's what will make me happy, but is that what I really want in my heart of hearts? Maybe buying a really nice car isn't something that would genuinely make you happy. Just because society said that it would doesn't mean that it would. Maybe buying a mansion genuinely wouldn't make you happy. Maybe you would prefer to live in a little cottage, you and the love of your life off in the woods in a little cottage somewhere. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to really get in touch with that vulnerable part of yourself in order to know what's going to make you happy. And that's what I mean when I say to try to stay away from just trying to change things externally. Like, I'm just going to glow up. I'm just going to make this money. I'm just going to get this. I'm just going to get that. And then I'm going to be healed. I'm going to be fine. Because if you're disconnected from that internal part of yourself, you could go and get all of those things and still feel broken and still feel unfulfilled inside. You see what I'm saying? So in order to heal narcissistic abuse, like I said, narcissistic abuse is a spiritual wound. It's a soul wound. So you have to get in touch with your authentic self and get in touch with your soul in order to know how to move forward. You see? So really get in touch with your heart of hearts and ask yourself what it is that's going to make you happy on a deep level, like on a spiritual, fulfilling level. What makes you happy, And you could think back to your past in order to really figure this out. What are the times that you felt the happiest? What are times in your past that you felt the most accomplished, that you felt the most proud of yourself? All of those things will point you into the direction of, what will genuinely make you fulfilled. For example, the times that I can think of when I was younger that I was happiest was spending time with my friends during my senior year of high school. That was the happiest I've ever been. And when I think back on that time, I think about the fact that, for one, I had a very clear goal that I could focus on, because I was, I was graduating from high school. So I was focusing on, taking all my exams and getting into college. So I had a very clear goal that I could focus on. So that lets me know that I'm happiest when I have like a goal in mind, like a fulfilling goal in mind. Number two, I was very, very close with my friends my high school year. We were spending so much time together, going to homecoming games, just hanging out on weekends, having sleepovers, just spending as much time as possible with each other as we could, because we knew we were going to go off and, start separate lives away at college. So I had a very, very deep bond with my friends, and I had a very healthy group of friends. Like, there was nothing toxic about my group of friends at all. All of us were very kind, compassionate people. We all loved each other. There was nothing toxic about our group whatsoever. And I'm very proud to say that. So That's something else that I know would make me genuinely happy, to have genuine connections with healthy people that I can trust, that I can build happy memories with. You see what I'm saying? So look, and also during that time, I didn't have a boyfriend at all. I swore off dating at that time. So there was no relationship drama. There was no relationship bullshit going on, you know? So that's how I know, like, these are the things that would make me happy. Not saying that I never want a relationship, because a relationship can never make me happy. I'm just saying, like, my goals, my friends, and a healthy relationship, you know, a relationship absent of the bullshit and the drama, is what will make me happy. And I know that because of that time period. Okay. And it's crazy, because during my senior year, I went into senior year with a boyfriend, and something just told me, like, no, don't have a boyfriend this year. Just cut that off. And I wrote a letter to my boyfriend because he was in jail. Oh my God. He was in jail. And I wrote a letter to him and was like, my senior year is starting. You're going to have to do that bid by yourself, my good man. Like, you're going to have to do that bid by yourself. I'm not holding you down this time around. I got things to do. And he was very upset. He was very upset. And he ended up getting out of jail like 4 years later, I think. No, not 4 years. What am I talking about? It was my senior year of high school. So he ended up getting out of jail that summer. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, I went through my whole high school year without any type of relationship, anything. So long story short, think back to a time where you felt genuinely happy. Okay. Genuinely happy, proud of yourself, all of that good stuff. And that's how you will know what's going to make you happy long term, and start incorporating those things into your life. Okay. Also, the Ten of Pentacles could also talk about just thinking about your legacy as well. Like, what legacy do you want to leave behind on this planet? Like, when you leave, what do you want to leave behind? What type of impact do you want to make? It doesn't have to be anything extreme. You don't have to cure cancer or something like that. But, you know, just what impact do you want to make on this, in this world? What type of positive change do you want to leave behind in this world? Because thinking about it from that standpoint can kind of help you to recover from narcissistic abuse. Because when we're in this headspace, when we're in this headspace, the narcissist can seem like it's consuming us, and we could feel like this is going to be how I'm going to feel for the rest of my life. But then when you think about how much more life you have ahead of you, and you think about the years that you have ahead of you to make positive impact, like to make a genuinely positive impact on the world, you'll realize that this situation with this narcissist, it's very small in comparison to how big your life force is, and how great your life can be moving forward. You know, this situation, I'm not saying it's small, like, oh, it's insignificant, but as time moves on, and as you expand, and as you, like I said, think about your long-term goals and things of that sort, and the legacy you want to leave behind, the narcissist and their abuse will start to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And for some of you, you know, experiencing narcissistic abuse, that could be part of the legacy that you choose to leave behind. Like, for example, I experienced narcissistic abuse, and I started this YouTube channel, and this is my purpose. This is my passion. So, well, I started this channel and my psychology channel. That's my purpose. That's my passion. So the narcissist from my past is very, very small compared to my purpose now, because my purpose is to empower victims of narcissistic abuse. So he's irrelevant at this point. You know what I'm saying? He's very small to a giant. Let's put it that way. And I feel like that's exactly how some of you are going to be feeling once you set those goals and you start to walk in your purpose as well. So let's move on to the don'ts. This reading is far longer than I initially thought it would be. Let's move on to the don'ts. So we have the Fool card in the reverse, and we have the Ten of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so I feel like with the Fool card being here in the reverse, this is saying to not just walk forward blindly. Like, yes, I said to walk by faith and not by sight, but you still have to have somewhat of a direction of where you are trying to get to, you know? I'm trying to see if I can give an example. Like, for example, when I got out of my abusive relationship with the narcissist, I didn't really have much direction. I would wake up and I was just like, what am I going to do with my day? I didn't really have any clear direction with what I was doing. It was like, it almost felt like I was on like some sort of roller coaster and like spinning around the whole time I was with this narcissist. And then finally, when he was gone, it was like, whoa, like I was trying to regain my balance. I didn't know which way was up, pretty much. And so I didn't really have any set plans. A lot of my plans before, revolved around him. My days revolved around him and revolved around arguing with him and trying to figure out if I was fucking crazy or it was so much chaos and turmoil being with him. Those are what my days consisted of. So when I was away from him, it was like, what do I fill my days up with now? And if I didn't have like a set plan for my day, I found myself just sitting around and obsessing over him. And so that's what I mean that, you have to walk by faith and not by sight. Like you have to have optimism that things are going to turn around, but you don't want to walk blindly. Like you still want to have like a kind of like a map of what your days look like, some goals of what you want to accomplish. For example, a big goal that I had for myself was to recover health wise because my ex narcissist caused a lot of health complications for me. So one of my goals was that I wanted to recover in terms of my health. So goals don't just have to be career all the time, So yeah, I wanted to improve my health. So what I did was, when I would wake up in the morning, I would start by, exercising, making myself nutritious breakfast, taking my supplements, meditating, like just doing things throughout my day that helped me with recovering from the health complications that he gave me. So that's what I mean. I needed to walk by faith, meaning I needed to have optimism moving forward that things were going to be all right. But I also needed to have some sort of focus of what my days look like so that I'm not sitting around and just obsessing over them, And also, when you don't have like a clear focus of how you're going to be moving forward and what you want to improve on or what you want to heal from, it actually makes you very vulnerable to running into people who don't mean you well. Because what I'm getting intuitively is that when you are in a transitional period, meaning you're just getting out of like a toxic situation, you're actually very, very vulnerable. You're kind of, like I said, you're kind of confused. You don't know which way is up and you're looking for comfort. And then you could randomly come across a person that, they just pop up out of nowhere. They message you on Instagram or something, or you meet them outside somewhere. You walk into the store and you meet them and they're like, hey, let's be friends. And it's very easy for a person who doesn't have good intentions to get into your life at that point. I'm being careful with what I say because I'm not trying to say like, oh, don't ever make new friends like when you're in this type of time period, because no, it's fine to make friends. But just use discernment, because what I'm getting intuitively is that when you're in a transitional period, it's very easy for manipulative people to kind of slither their way into your life, especially if you don't have any clear direction of where you're going. You could easily be pulled into their life instead. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you have no clear direction of where you're going after narcissistic abuse and you meet a friend, right? And the friend they message you on Instagram, hey, how are you? We seem to have a lot in common. Let's hang out. And you go to hang out with them and maybe they're into very destructive things. Like maybe they're into things that seem like fun, but are very destructive. And you could get caught up in their life and spending time with them, doing destructive things with them, because you didn't have a clear direction of where you were going in terms of your healing. Does that make sense? I've seen that happen, y'all. I've seen that happen where a girl had just got out of a situation where she was, abused by a narcissist, and she met a friend. And the friend was like, hey, move to LA with me and let's get into the adult entertainment industry. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the adult entertainment industry, because I don't shame people at all. Y'all know that. I'm an Aquarius. I let people live and be free. So there's no shame here. But I will say that getting into that industry actually did her some harm. It did. And the girl that pulled her into it in the first place, or that introduced her to it, she ended up just leaving the industry anyway. Like the girl was just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Bye. And like left the industry, left her as a friend. And she she just did some damage to herself and to like her reputation and things like that, that she was saying she wished that she never did. And it's all because after she was abused by that narcissist, she didn't have any clear direction, and she met this friend, and the friend introduced her to this world. And it was easy for her to get pulled into that because she didn't have a clear direction in her life. Does that make sense? See what I'm saying? So be careful of that. Have a direction of where you want to go, so that you won't be vulnerable to being pulled into someone else's life or into another direction that is going to be detrimental to you. Oh my God, this reading is almost an hour long. Okay. Next, we have the 10 of Wands and the reverse. Oh, okay. I'm hearing something that I kind of already touched base on about how like being too rested can actually do the opposite for you. And this is what I mean. After you get out of an abusive or like a toxic relationship, sometimes you feel so drained. You're like, I just want to lay around and sleep all day. And what I'm seeing here is that sometimes that can be detrimental as well, because again, it gives you a lot of time to spiral and to overthink. So I'm not saying that you should fill your schedule up to the brim, to the point where you have no free time and you have no time to think and you're just like wearing yourself out, because that could have negative impact on you physically as well. You don't want to be doing that, but you do want to be filling your schedule up with things that are fulfilling to you. And you want to be even scheduling in resting into your day. You want to make sure you're doing it in a way that is still helpful to you. So, for example, my days after narcissistic abuse, it was filled with YouTube. I was filming for YouTube. That's something that's fulfilling for me. So it wasn't draining me at all. If anything, filming for YouTube was giving me energy. So we think like, oh, after a toxic relationship, we have to sleep to repair our energy, or like to replenish our energy, or we have to lay around all day to replenish our energy. And yeah, we do need to get some rest. Our body does need to be rested. But like I said, sometimes just laying around can actually do the opposite, because your negative thoughts can start to drain you. You think, oh, I'm just resting after this abuse cycle. So you're laying around and your thoughts are draining. You're not resting at all. You're having flashbacks of what happened with the narcissist, and your fight or flight system is going off in your chest. And yeah, so it's like I was filling my days up with fulfilling things that were actually giving me energy. Like YouTube and walking my purpose on YouTube was giving me energy. So fill your schedule up with fulfilling things. And then also when I was resting, I was practicing self-care even when I was resting. So I wasn't just like laying around and resting, because again, my mind will start to wander to negative things. But instead, I was when I would rest, I would have like my headphones on and I would be listening to positive affirmations. I would be listening to high vibrational music. I would be daydreaming about like my future. Like that was one of my favorite things to do, because I'm really big into the law of attraction. And so one of my favorite things to do was to put on some music and to daydream about like my ideal life, and I mean, obviously be careful of this, because you don't want to fall into maladaptive daydreaming, to where you're daydreaming all day long to the point where you're not getting anything done. But when it was time for me to rest, like, right before bed, and it was time for me to unwind, I would make sure that while I was resting, my mind was distracted with something restful, but also positive at the same time, So again, my mind wouldn't be wandering and thinking and obsessing about the narcissist, because I was too busy daydreaming in my head with music on about my future, or listening to positive affirmations, or watching like a show that was comforting to me, like watching like my comfort shows. So just while you are resting, make sure it's like you're doing it in a way that keeps your mind in a positive place. And I'm not saying that you can suppress those negative thoughts completely about the narcissist, because sometimes they need to come up and you need to sit with yourself. And one of my favorite things to do, like when the thoughts were too loud and like there was no way I could just distract myself, I would just sit with them and I would put my hand on my chest. I would feel my heartbeat and I would like literally talk to myself like, it's okay. You're safe. Like these thoughts are going to pass. Like this too shall pass. Everything is okay. Like I would literally put my hand on my heart, listen to my heartbeat, and like literally talk to myself, and just tell myself this is going to pass, and just soothe myself and give myself that nurturing and that caring as well. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you. I hope that this was helpful. I did not mean for this reading to be this long, but I hope that this was helpful. I love you guys a lot. Like I said, moving forward, I'm going to be doing a lot of shadow work readings, self-love readings. So if you are a victim of narcissistic abuse, or just you're a victim of toxic people in general that have just really done a number on you, they've really hurt you, traumatized you, messed with your self-esteem, we're going to get all of that together, right? We're going to rebuild all of that. We're going to rebuild that self-esteem, rebuild your sense of self-worth, do shadow work so that we can release any of that pent-up pain. You know, we're just going to be turning everything around. Like, that's what I am dedicating my tarot channel to moving forward. So yeah, that's it. I love you guys. I hope this reading was helpful. Because this reading is so long, I'm not going to be doing an extended reading. Y'all know usually I do an extended reading and I give additional messages, but this reading was just long. So consider this the extended reading. This reading was extended enough. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video.